Hello, this is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to the Flipping 50 podcast. Is becoming a health coach or a personal trainer something you've toyed with? Do you love health? Are you tired of what you've been doing? Maybe you haven't really done anything. Are you looking for a career or a second career with meaning and purpose you love? This episode is full of resources and things to consider. I'll look at both the pros and cons of starting now or getting back into it if something you did back in the day. In fact, this episode is sponsored by the Flipping 50 Fitness Specialist Certificate. I train health coaches and personal trainers to use the Flipping 50 formula with individuals and small groups so they can build a business and a life they love and serve women in perimenopause, menopause, and beyond so they can master their metabolisms. So they have the energy and the vitality they want, need, and deserve. And right now you can get one of two options for 50% off. It's only for the first 50 who take advantage of it, but there are still some left. And I'll link to that in the show notes. The code you'll want to remember is Certificate 50. I'll give you a short state of the industry, the fitness industry, in this episode. Here's what's important for you to remember. To date, an overwhelming 60% of Flipping 50 community members have expressed a preference for their personal trainer or health coach to be over 40. In fact, with most respondents, it appears the older, the better. Education or training and experience are important, but age was more important. You clearly, and I say that collectively to all listeners, you clearly want someone who gets you. Statements like, "Oh, my grandmother does that too," from your trainer during a session are a real turnoff. Even, "You remind me so much of my mom, she says that too." Not really what you're wanting to hear from a trainer. You think you're having a conversation and a relationship with directly. You want someone who you feel knows the difference in her needs too. And oh yes, in the gender arena, women win. You want a woman who you can share details with. Who knows, maybe easier to discuss a little incontinence with your female trainer. Maybe it's that your libido needle is bouncing on zero. Maybe that conversation too is easier. You want a trainer, especially if you don't choose to do an online virtual fitness studio like the Flipping 50 membership, who has similar life experience. If she too is pulled by her kids and her job, maybe her grandkids and her aging parents, she understands it's not just exercise, it's all the things that overwhelm you. She's your preference. So you get the idea. Women in perimenopause, menopause, and beyond would just rather train or be coached by women in perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. That's good news and bad. If you're currently a match for those credentials, meaning female in perimenopause or beyond, and you've been in the fitness industry or in the health and medical industry, you may have a background as a nurse or a PA. We have grown up, if you've been in fitness, with agencies like IDEA. At once upon a time, it was called International Dance Exercise Association, and AFA, the American Fitness Association of America. Some of us collectively, I say that again to listeners, have changed careers and chosen health and wellness second careers, but not enough of us. The IDEA Association, now called Health and Fitness Association, is older, but it's not recruiting new and younger trainers. They have too many choices. They learn a little about a lot. And that began in the late 80s. For those of us that were teaching and training then, I was in the late 80s, about 6 years into training. We learned step and spinning and slide and interval circuit training and isometrics and funk and boxing. And the list goes on, but we learn them one at a time. Today, a student has all of them to consider and either goes deep into one or two or superficially gets many. Very limiting if you're the client. To a trainer who specializes in spinning, you potentially will be doing a lot of spinning. And still, they only learn the method. They aren't learning you. Personal training for personal training really is beginning to leave out the personal. There are more and more quote unquote personal trainers and health coaches, but less and less actually working with what's true of you right now. What have you tried? What's not working? What were the results? What do you want to try next? And are you willing to try? And what are you not willing to go through? So those trainers and coaches are not learning your hormones, your state of being, your needed changes. They become an expert in spinning technique, for instance, but not in the people in their sessions. Why is that a problem? Well, for the obvious reasons, but then there's this. As of now, we're in 2020 as I make this recording, 46 million women are in menopause. 6,000 women a day enter menopause. And this is according to ACOG, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. This is US only. That's a lot of women who need and want help. Let's be serious. 75% of women ask for directions compared to 30% of men. And that spills over into all of life. Women make up 78 to 80% of the personal training clients at large chain and at small fitness businesses. To be more specific, it's not just women who make up that personal training client business. It's women between 40 and 70. And of course, that is women in perimenopause and beyond who don't even know often that they're in perimenopause. They just know they're gaining weight and belly fat. And a trainer who doesn't understand and recognize what's happening will potentially make her worse. If she exercises and eats incorrectly based on old science and caloric deficits, she will increase her stress levels, cortisol levels, and continue to make that vicious cycle far worse. Now, that may seem odd to you. You may think, but no, that's not true. My trainer is young, just graduated, so I'm sure they have the best information. Not necessarily true. If you think about the way books are published, particularly textbooks, certification books, which is another textbook of type, they've been written using research that may or may not be totally recent. Most textbooks and most books that we author, including the 6 titles I authored, they want relevant and recent research, but that would be within the past, say, no greater than 6 or 8 years. But then by the time a book is published, it goes through, here's the final draft, here's tweak this, here's the time it's going to take to bind and lay that book out and to get the copy and decide on the title and the cover and all the details and then finally publish it, you're talking 2 more years. That book no longer has fresh and most recent research in it. Interesting perspective, right? What about us? What's going wrong with us potentially? We see 4,000 to 10,000, a large range of marketing messages a day. Now, if you're interested in health and fitness and wellness and you're constantly seeking and searching weight loss, how do I lose this? What kind of exercise will get rid of this? You're going to be shown more and more marketing messages about health and fitness and wellness or eating or fasting. And the more you're on social media, the more channels, the more platforms, the more you see. So it may be toward that higher range. That's a lot of messages. And I want to pause here for a moment, not to be confused with menopause, by the way, and say this. I contribute to the marketing noise. I want to fully disclose that because I think it is a qualified service provider's responsibility to create a marketing message and get it out there. What happens if we don't? What happens if I don't and you didn't find me ever? Who would you be following? I mean, that's really the question. The messages you get most frequently are from marketers, not from fitness professionals who actually need to be better marketers. Marketers understand that you're a target. They want your dollars. They care less about making it work for you, helping you and your outcome, than they do about how much you will spend with them in the lifetime of a customer. So I also want to weigh in on your limiting beliefs about money right now. And this is going to feel like a little rabbit hole. We're talking about coaching and personal training and how maybe that's something you could consider right now. But women often struggle with money, and I'll come back to that point. So I'd love you to have a listen to this if it's a fit. My friend Christina Wise and I did a podcast here about health and wealth, and really that is her whole platform and premise. I'll link to both a recent Flipping 50 podcast I did with her and to her podcast. So if limiting beliefs about money or a need to get busy and create wealth are true of you, we have less time now at 50 than we did at 30, but it is not too late. I'd love you to listen if that feels like a fit to Christina's podcast. I'll say it again. Women often struggle with money. When you don't have it, you struggle with it most. And I say this with all due respect because it is conditioning. You didn't wake up in the morning and think this way. You woke up thousands of mornings to small messages that made you feel this way. You know, money doesn't grow on trees. Oh, they've just got so much money. They're greedy. I wonder how they made that money. Almost as if it's dirty. First of all, it is about money. But listen to this. Recent comments within the last week. Number one, it's all about money, isn't it? And that was in regard to just an easy and casual reason why a certain venue couldn't be used for a meeting place. And this one, she just wants you to sign up for her newsletter. This was from a podcast listener's. I'm not sure she even listened, but a podcast listener's comments at the end of one of my podcasts as it was promoted, or not promoted, but available in YouTube. So first of all, just in response to those, it is all about money. Without money, we can't do any good. So it's about how you choose to do money, and it's about how you maybe see that people use the money. But without money, you have a small reach. You can't do what you want to do. It takes money to do everything. What comments like that are more about your or the speaker's relationship with money. Because you somehow believe that wanting to make money is bad, yet we all need it. We need it to take care of ourselves, our families, to do the good we do in the world. Have you ever noticed that those who dish profitable companies don't make or earn money, usually themselves? They usually struggle with money themselves. So it's not your fault. Your background, your environment growing up, your parents' relationship with money, that money doesn't grow on trees, or all you care about is money statements, or having to pay your own way and struggle through it. You may have acquired that feeling that those people who want money, make money, are greedy. And those who don't just are looking out, and that's how it is. Getting more money should be a struggle or hard. So I really encourage you to go back to Christina's podcast, listen to the one we did, and then if she resonates with you, listen to hers. You're not stuck in your thinking. There are always ways we ignore to spend less, and better yet, to make more. Money can be created no matter where you are. You can be retired and think you're on a set income, but you are just on a set income in one area. What else could you do? You have skills and talents. You may feel incongruent between enjoying finer things and saying it's not about the money, and then the ability to charge, say, for your own services. Often it's easier to work for an employer and don't have to put a value on your own services when your money thoughts are like this. And I go down this rabbit hole because a bit of a relationship with money so that you can establish fees that are fair and reasonable for you and clients and customers for your service is an important part of growth as a coach or trainer. If you volunteer your services and you think I would do this if nobody paid me, you have limiting beliefs about money and about how people get motivated. Most people, the rule of thumb is this: if you don't pay, you won't play, even when it's serious like your health. Second, okay, oh yes, I do want you to subscribe to my newsletter, to the information that I relay, but only if you're someone who wants help. You aren't finding it or not satisfied now, and you're not accepting aging as it's been shown to you before. The only way I can help, even if I can see how I can help you, is if you put your hand up and ask. And the first time you do that with me and with most people is to subscribe to our email and to get notices about new research, about upcoming programs, about corrections in the exercises that you're doing, about live free and paid events. Random bits of information do not help you consistently move forward. Choose a voice. And I hope it's me, but if it's not, you'll choose a voice and you'll have clarity in the direction you're going. You don't have to gather the information from this one and that one and then the other one. You can get it directly from one resource, and you will at least be on a path that you can eliminate or continue down. So, is the woman who says she just wants you to sign up for her newsletter someone I can help? No, but you might be. I first saw this in the original National Treasure. I'm not sure if you remember that movie or not, but you can Google it. If you see a problem and you have the ability to do something about it, you have the responsibility to do something about it. And I may have botched that quote for its exact purpose, but you get the message. It is my responsibility to tell you that you have options. And the way you've been taught, that I've taught exercise 20 and 30 years ago, was wrong. That I never do endurance training if I don't have balanced hormones. You need to know that. You've seen me potentially share information about training for Ironman distance, but the only way that I ever start that kind of training is if I have hormones in balance before I do. And yes, I do. 20 to 30 minutes a day of cardio or of weights or of yoga, and maybe all three. That is it. That is also how I exercise. It is how the After 50 Fitness Formula for Women hormone balancing program has been started because of me, because it works on me during hormone chaos. I don't tell you to do one thing and then do another myself. There are women who want to believe that I don't do what I tell you to do because it lets them off the hook. Don't be one of those. If you don't understand how it works, please ask. Whether you are certified now as a trainer or a health coach, you were once, or you just want to be, add Flipping 50 Fitness Specialists to your knowledge pool. It's a wise investment. You're going to understand it more for yourself. You'll live it, and you'll understand how to identify how to help and support women and the obstacles they face so that you can give them the breakthroughs they want, need, and deserve. You, if you're listening to this, are a perfect candidate. If you work with women and you seamlessly provide joint-worthy workouts and progression, but you don't really speak hormone balance into that programming, your business and your clients' outcomes will suffer and be limited. But you can change that and grow dramatically and the business outcome and the life legacy and influence you'll have are tremendous. If you're already working with a personal trainer, you're not interested for yourself, or you want to locally reach out to see if there's a Flipping 50 fitness specialist in your geographic area, we have a directory for those who passed the test, gone through the training at the end of the advanced training option. And I would love your questions and your comments. Add them below. The number one question I get when I speak to a women's audience is always, how do I find trainers who know this? Because so many of you do want to work with someone locally, someone who can see you, give you immediate feedback. Although we can do that via Skype, via FaceTime, see your body, give you feedback in the moment. If you prefer it, they're out there. I'd love your questions and comments, so add them below and you'll find this. Show notes will be at flipping50.com/certificate. And I will put all of the links to the resources I mentioned, the podcast with Christina Wise, her own podcast. My friend will support all of this. And I want you to know that this upcoming weekend and month, I'm speaking twice, once at Medical Fitness Association with my friend Lisa Dougherty. They are acknowledging the importance of the female health, fitness, and hormone balance, and created a course with myself and two others for everything from adolescence through pre and postnatal to menopause and beyond. 7 stages a woman goes through. For more information on that, you can reach out, look at the show notes again about the MedFit tours, where you can get more information. And I'm also speaking at a live event with a good friend of mine called the Believe event. If you're interested, let me know. I have a limited number of tickets available for you to simply hold your space, and then you're otherwise attending complimentary. So there's potentially 200, a little bit less, a little bit more, maybe, women in the room. It's an awesome event. If you're looking for ways to level up and you want a new community of women who also want something more, they may not know yet what that is, but they're not quite settling for what's current right now. So I look forward to your questions, your comments, and you still got it, girl.